All right, you guys. So welcome. It's your girl, Carlika Katrina Basnight-Menendez. Yes, all of that. And I am back. I'm back with an amazing guest. Miss Deon Hall is in the building with us today. And you may be saying, who in the world is this lady? I'm getting ready to tell you. I'm so glad that you asked. I am the number one Black face of women in menopause. Yes, you heard right. You already know what we're talking about. All aspects of menopause, though. We're not just focusing on the 34 plus symptoms, because one thing, menopause is not a one size fits all. And so you have heard my story. And for those who haven't, I was thrown into menopause at the age of 30. Yes, you heard me right. 30 years old. I was thrown into menopause by having a complete hysterectomy. And so I'm so passionate about it because I don't want another woman to suffer being silent and feel that she's all alone with a bunch of pamphlets and things and trying to figure out this new journey, this new transition in her life all by herself. And so mark your calendars, mark them, get your phones out or whatever you do. Because I say if it's not on the calendar, it does not exist. And so MenoCon 2022 is happening right here in St. Mary's, Georgia on September 16th and 17th. So look, mark your calendars, start looking for your travel and lodging arrangements because you want to be in the space. You want to be in the building. We have some amazing speakers. And this is just for the everyday woman who's saying, you know what, before I get to menopause, I want to be aware. While I may be in it, I want to have community. And if you're on the latter end of postmenopause, right, there's still some transitionings and some things happening in your body and your mind and your mental. And we're talking about women's wellness altogether. We understand more funding is needed for women's wellness initiatives, and especially for underrepresented communities such as women of color. And so mark your calendars. You can visit bit.ly/MenoCon for more information. Tickets will be going on sale in March, so you don't want to miss it. Get in so you can be in the know of what we have going on with MenoCon. And so, Deon, those are a few announcements out the way, you all. Deon, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk about all things menopause, perimenopause, and wellness.
Yes, you are. And Deon, let me just tell you all, she's going to tell you all about herself and what she's doing in the world as well. But she was a part of our Menopause and Mimosa, right? The second one that we did, well, the third one that we did, right? Because we did it 2 times in 1 year, like 30 days apart. Isn't that crazy? But I was like, but our ladies in, other countries, Spain and the UK and different things, was like, well, can you do it at this time? And we was like, sure. That's how we are building these relationships all over the globe, all over one word, right? Isn't that amazing? One word is bringing so many women together, doing so many amazing things and taking different aspects of it, whether it's surgical, whether it's perimenopause, whether it's postmenopausal, whether it's 50 and above, because I'm seeing a lot of 50 and 50 and thriving, but even under 40. Right, we're talking about menopause and we're normalizing the conversation amongst everyone. And so Deon was a part of that, you all. She did an amazing job. We learned so much with the essential oils and different things that we can help ourselves, right? Things that we can do to help ourselves on a holistic remedy. And so Deon, just introduce yourself and let everyone know, what is it that you're doing out here?
Sure. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. And yes, that Menopause and Mimosa was fun. And I was a presenter, I learned so much from that because we're always learning, right? We continue to learn. So that was an awesome event. And I'm also happy to be here. Thank you so much for the invite. I appreciate this. I always jump at any opportunity that I can get to talk about menopause, particularly because it needs to be talked about. It's too much hush hush and shh, and all of this stuff. And we need to be empowered with this. It's a part of being a woman, but we don't have to suffer in silence, right? And so just going out there and letting women know that you don't have to suffer in silence, and don't believe when they tell you that there's nothing you can do about it. All right, let me get off that soapbox. A little bit about me. Like, I'm ready to start preaching now.
Look, I love it though. I love it. She's like, let me get off the soapbox, but you're so right that we have options. Go on, Deon.
Yeah. All right. Let me go back to the question. You asked me to introduce myself. So I am Deon Hall-Garrigues, as Carlika has mentioned. I am a wellness and menopause coach, and my journey started in wellness many years ago. I was kind of a informal coach to my friends and family, all things wellness. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I always gravitated towards just wellness in general, even though I didn't totally understand wellness then as much as I do today, and know that it plays such an integral part in our overall well-being, and that wellness is not just about the food you eat, it's way more than that. So I spent a few years being the informal coach, and some situations happened in my life over the years, and I decided that, you know what, let me just tell you all about it, because maybe this will help the context. I lost a very close family member at the age of 41. She was 41, to a very deadly disease. And I felt helpless, because here I was exploring all things wellness, going into training conferences, thinking I know so much about wellness. And at the same time, I was helpless when it came to her health. And so when she finally passed, because her disease had progressed so much, I lived with a lot of guilt after that. I felt like she's 41 years old, she's dead. She had this disease. And I looked back at her life, because I was very close to her. Were there signs, were there things that she could have been doing differently? And the answer is yes, or was yes. And then I said, but there may be women out there just like her that you just don't know. It's just the awareness. And I lived with all that shame and guilt for years. And then one day I had a wake-up call watching Oprah, and they're talking about living your purpose, finding what it is that you do, not dying with your dream, and if not now, when? And that's all that resonated with me. If not now, when? And I sat there and I was like, I don't care how you do this or what you do, you owe it to your aunt, and you owe it to other women to start raising awareness. It's not about money. It's about something that I felt so passionate about, because she was attached to it, and the attachment that I had with her. And maybe a week later, I started doing research around nutrition school. What can I do with this? Just what do I do with what I'm feeling, and how do I go out and I help people? Right. And I came up on a bunch of different nutrition school, but then landed on the Institute of Integrated Nutrition, because I think they probably have the best marketing out there. Was it the best school? I'm not sure, but I did get a good education, a good foundation. But they have a rockin' marketing. Hands down, right? So they got me. They got me, and I went, but it was great. It was a great education, great exposure, great experience, and I actually found what I wanted to do. They helped me to define what that could look like what a career could look like what helping other women could look like that would fulfill that passion that I had. And so right away, yeah, before I even graduated, I formed a company, was getting an LLC, and I didn't even graduate yet, and they allowed us to do practice coaching, and I just started. I just started coaching, charging little and nothing to free, and I enjoyed that. And so over the years, I've done a lot of that. But when this thing called perimenopause hit me, for a 10-year period, I just thought, I don't know what was happening in my body. But when I developed fibrocystic breasts, and I had to see a breast specialist every 6 months, I had to get mammograms and sonograms every 6 months, go see my radiologist, my GYN, every 6 months. And these fibers started to multiply from one breast to the other, and so I was officially high risk for cancer. And all the other things came. The bloating came, the energy was gone, and I'm like, well, what is happening? And no one, from my radiologist, my GYN, to my primary, to my breast specialist, could tell me what is happening in my body. All I heard was it's hormonal changes. It's part of being a woman. You have to expect that, and you'll get over that. And I heard that so many times till it became frustrating. It's the worst thing you could tell me is that there's nothing you can do about something,
And
because
Deon, that part right there, because I think that's where a lot of women are, not just even the lack of education on certain things ourselves, but simply hearing the words, you have no options, or get over it, or not even knowing exactly what's going on. So now we're going to all these appointments. We're doing what we're doing what we think we should be
mm-hmm.
doing, or what
Yep.
we've been instructed to do. And we're still leaving empty. We're still leaving frustrated. We're still leaving with no answers. And so then we go on a search ourselves. So let's just back up a little bit. You gave us a lot right there, Deon. Look, but I love stories because that's what people relate to, right? There's another woman out there listening who's going to say, you know what? I've been going back and forth to the doctor. And actually, I'm tired of going back and forth to the doctor and getting the runaround. And you all, what we're saying here today is our experiences and expertise, but please, by all means, consult your medical providers for any information concerning yourself, right? Consult your medical providers. And so we're hearing that a lot with so many women leaving with no answers, leaving feeling worse than when they went there, right? Because mentally, all of these things are going on mentally, like, okay, well, am I getting ready to die, or do I have a deadly disease? And especially in your experience, and I'm sure other people can relate, where they've lost someone that was close to them, and now we're on a search to find out what else could have been done. Could something have been prevented? Was there something that I can do? Or should I have been doing something? Should I have been speaking up more? All of these unresolved answers and questions, per se, that's going round and round in our head that people can't see, right? People didn't know to the degree of your shame, or to the degree of how you were probably feeling, to think, okay, that was my friend. Was it something else that she could have been doing? Could her death been prevented? Right. And I look at that even sometimes with the hysterectomies and different things that women do endure. Over 600,000 plus women every single year, just in the US alone, are getting hysterectomies. Is there something else that can be done? What is our other option? I remember for myself, be in pain or get a hysterectomy. Right. Those were the only options presented to me. And after you've been in pain for years, right? You don't want to continue your life in pains, but then you still didn't know what was life going to be like after the hysterectomy. In your case, I didn't go through perimenopause, but like you said, that 10-year span, so many women don't even realize that they're even in perimenopause, right? And they're like, oh, I'm just having these changes. Oh, I got some bloating. Oh, I have, whatever that looks like. I sweat at night, or I'm having some things going on. And you're like, well, did your doctor? But ladies, this is the thing. If we don't advocate for ourselves, if you don't ask for what it is that you need, whether that's on your job, whether that's in your household, if you don't have the right conversations with your medical providers, the treatment plan that they may have for you, it may have left you with no other options but what they said, right? And so, Deon, walk us through that journey of perimenopause, because like I said, y'all, I didn't go through perimenopause. Like, my ovaries and everything was just snatched out in a matter of a time of a surgery, and I was thrown into menopause, like, effective immediately. And so for you, going through that journey of perimenopause, walk us through a little bit of that, from when you start noticing that, okay, I'm having some changes, to the point of you actually had some resolution.
Sure. So I want to just go back to one thing that you said about, working with your healthcare provider. So what I have learned is that you have to be your own advocate, because one thing that I know for sure is that most medical providers did not learn about nutrition or the connection in medical school. It's just recently you'll have functional doctors who will say, go back to the foundation, right?
Right.
And I say this because I have gone through, I'm embarrassed to say how many GYNs I have changed, for the reason that we couldn't connect on that level, in connecting between not just medicine, not just conventional medicine, but my overall wellness. And once I started to educate myself and learning that there was more to my illness than just what you're seeing and just part of being a woman. There was a whole other dynamic that was happening around my wellness that they just couldn't see because they wanted to give me medications and I refused. So I was not like a compliant patient either because I was arguing for my own health. I mean, I remember going to, I'm not going to name the hospital because I don't want to get sued, to this, it's in Manhattan, it's in the Upper West Side of Manhattan. And the radiologist, when I started to learn about estrogen dominance and that sort of stuff, and I humbly asked her, because she's a big doctor at this hospital, radiologist, I certainly don't want to make her feel in any way as if she doesn't know what she's talking about. And I said very calmly, you mentioned hormonal. Do you think estrogen has anything to do with the cyst that I'm developing? And she point blank told me no. She point blank told me no, it has nothing to do with that. And I left feeling very disappointed, as if I was being lied to, because what I was learning from functional doctors and other research and all of that stuff, a lot of what I was dealing with related to estrogen. And later I actually found out from tests that I was estrogen dominant, which is what was driving the development of the cyst. And my question was, how do I get to that estrogen like how my estrogen was way higher than my progesterone. They're supposed to be lockstep in order for you to feel balanced. And without that, these were the symptoms that I was having. And
let me pause there, because a lot of times people don't understand too much estrogen and too low estrogen is not good. Right? No. Like having too much or producing too much or not producing enough. So then you come with different symptoms. So of course we know when you have too low of an estrogen, different things in your body you can be leaning into menopause and different things, but different things are going on with your body. But too much estrogen. But once again, if we're not asking to have these levels checked, right? I know I'm a menopausal woman. I still had my doctor during my physical this year check my hormone levels. Even though I know my estrogen, I already knew that my hormone levels were going to be really low. However, because they tend to forget seemingly that, and I know they have a lot of patients and different things that, oh, no, you had a hysterectomy, or no, you're a menopause. But there's so many other things that can lead, though menopause itself is not a disease. There's so many other things that's so important for us to know and for our providers to know that if I'm a menopausal woman, I could be having a loss of my bone density. I could be having some other issues that develop along the way. But if you're not treating me for those things and you're just looking at some of the surface level or those 34 plus symptoms, or not even listening really, where you're not hearing what I'm saying. And then, because sometimes we don't ever want to just get in an argument or a battle against the medical provider, because it's not really even worth your time. But I love that we have to take a stand. Go ahead.
Yep, we have to take a stand, and you are your best advocate. And as women, and listen to me, women, they might be medical doctors, they've gone through, they have their degrees and all of that, but no one knows your body better than you. No one knows your body better than you. And so you have to plug into that instinct, plug into that gut that you're feeling, and advocate for that. Advocate for that, because sometimes you have to tell your doctors what you want and what you think. I had to bring a whole list once I became a little more educated about my hormonal situation. I brought a whole list of tests that I asked my doctor to run, and not just my cortisol, my estrogen, and my thyroid, because those are the three that they most often run and forget about other things. So I had to bring a list and say, these are the hormones I need you to check for me, and just let me know where I stand. So we have to be our own advocate. But going back to the original question you asked, my perimenopause journey. So when it started, honestly, I didn't know what was happening. I didn't even know what perimenopause was. I mean,
Right.
we're always hearing, older women, back then I was in my 30s, talk about the changes, like,
Yes.
I'm going through my changes. I have the flashes, I have the mood. Didn't quite get it. I figure they're like, you'll get there soon. And you just figure it's some phase that you pass through. But honestly, I didn't even know what I was feeling was called
Wow.
perimenopause. And I just didn't know. And so what
Wow.
really got me more invested in my health and invested in what was happening is the way I was
Mhm.
feeling. And
Yeah.
what scared me were the fibrocystic breast that I had developed.
Right.
That scared me more than anything else, because when you're seeing a breast specialist and you're every 6 months and you're high risk and you go to get your mammogram and you don't leave before 3 hours because they're poking and prodding and they're sending it back, and you're getting aspirations and you're getting biopsies. I mean, it just really drives you out of your mind, and there are no
It
answers.
does, Deon. And how do I know that? Because I just was going through that.
Mm-hmm.
And where they was like, oh, it's fibrocystic breast disease, this, different things. And I'm just like, oh, okay, right. That day that I even heard, I felt a little overwhelmed. And that's why I say community is important. When you have these transitions in your life happening, being able to call or talk to the right people, even when you're leaving the hospital, or someone to go with you or whatever, all those things are so important. I, like Deon, when I say I just went through that probably over the last month,
Mm.
like just this year. Yeah, just this year. So I can definitely relate to that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so, on my journey, I didn't know, I did what they told me to do. I
Yeah.
always didn't miss my appointment because I was scared as hell. I mean, no woman wants to hear cancer of any kind, especially one that could be progressing. And so, as part of my research, what I also came across was thermography. And I had
Mm-hmm.
written a blog years ago about thermography, but you write it, you learn. Then I went back and it came up again. And that's where they take photographs of your body, and they can, very old technology, but now it's coming back where they can actually see heat patterns in your body. And
Mm-hmm.
some of the heat patterns, they won't tell you have cancer, but they'll say something like, you probably need to investigate this further.
Right.
Because if there's a tumor that's malignant or benign, the heat pattern is going to identify that. And so I
Mm-hmm.
said, you know what, I am going to find a thermography. And again, that was a project because they're not very
I was
frequent,
about to
they're
say,
not popular.
yeah, I was
But
about to
I
say, good
yeah
luck if you found one, because it's even like finding a menopause specialist, right? They're far and few in between. I mean, I did some research in my own local area, and I think the closest one to me is maybe about almost 50 minutes.
yeah, it took me a while. It took me a few days to really figure it out and find, because there
Yeah.
aren't that many. I did find one in New York City, which was close to where I work, so I was very happy for that. And insurance doesn't cover this, right? Because it's just out of their realm. But
But you know
anyone,
what, Deon? I think that is crazy
yes,
because, and I'm not going to stay on this long because I definitely want to respect your time, but I think it's crazy that a lot of the transitions outside of childbearing, right, it's not covered for women's health initiatives, for women's health and
mm-hmm,
well-being altogether, that it is not covered. Not even a percentage of it, not a lot of it is not covered. So this keeps a lot of women from
yeah,
going to
yep,
seek specialties and or get other help or seek other options, because it's like, okay, we look at HRT or pellets, butt pellets, or whatever that may, bio identical hormone therapy,
hormone,
all of these different treatment plans, but they're not covered by insurance. So if you don't have insurance, you don't have that option. If
yep,
you have insurance, you still deciding if I'm going to pay every, I don't know, 8 to 12 weeks for HRT at $200 or $350 or so every time I go for that treatment plan, versus, especially with the inflation and things that's going on now, a lot of people just flat out can't afford even if they're seeking, right? Because I do believe a lot of women are seeking answers. They're seeking options, health and treatment plans. A lot of people are looking for more holistic remedies as well. And so how did you deal with your perimenopause in the time frame for yourself? Like, what was your treatment plan? I know earlier you said, you was not the compliant patient. I'm not taking all these meds. Y'all not getting ready to put me on. So what did you do for that woman who's sitting there now? She's in perimenopause and she's like, I feel like I'm going crazy.
Sure. And also because I wasn't taking all the meds, because I'm not a medications person, I always feel that nature created a lot of things that we can use as our first line of defense. Medication has its place. If you need it, you need it. I'm not saying don't take it, but I don't think it's the first line of defense personally for me. And I always encourage women to try alternatives before you go to medication. Sometimes you have to, but for me, what my research led me to was coming back to the foundation of your nutrition. That is like the foundation. It's like the soil that you plant the plants in, right? It has to be good. And so my nutrition was in diet, and nutrition was important. My self-care was also important. My supplementation was important. That I always thought that I ate well, I don't need to supplement, but news, you do need to, because that helps. In addition to just supporting the rest of your body, your hormones require a little bit more. So now you are also feeding your hormones in addition to your other cells in your body that needs to function optimally. And all those self-care things around your relationship, your sleeping, how do you relax, how do you self-care, and movement. And so I took all of those things that I've actually captured into a 5-step rebalance program that I have now, just solely from what I learned and what I implemented myself. But I also partnered it with the thermography, and that's the other piece that I want to tell you about, that experience, because that led me on a different journey also. In taking that thermography, the thermographer said to me after seeing everything, she said, I want you to use these 4 essential oils. And that's, even though I had used essential oils over the years when my children were younger and for myself, when she told me that, I was like, okay, so there's something to these oils. And she recommended 4 oils to me that I needed to use every 2 weeks. I needed to rotate the 4 oils. I happen to have had 3 at home. 1 I had never even heard of, so I didn't even have that. So I got that. And so I went through that whole ritual for about 1.5 years, rotating the oils, doing the oils, and I'll go back and have. And each time I went back for my 6-month visit to do a new thermography, in addition to the nutrition, the supplementation, the exercising, all those other self-care things that I had implemented, my cysts were disappearing. And so I knew there was something to everything that I was using, in addition to the essential oils that I was using as well. And so that actually really played an important role in those perimenopausal years and really toward my healing. So I no longer have breast cysts. I no longer feel as bloated and moody and lack of energy as I did before. And so it all kind of came together. I think I lost you. Your camera went out.
Oh, there we go.
I think I lost you for a brief minute.
I did. But
I kept talking.
Look, that's what I love. That's what I love. So I love it. Deon, we're right at our time. So let everyone know you want to get in her 5 step, you want to get in her program, right? So that you can get yourself healed, right? From the inside out with the natural holistic remedies and different things. So Deon, how can everyone connect with you?
So please go over to my Instagram at Deon's Wellness Wagon. So DEONS Wellness Wagon. You can also connect with me on Facebook at Deon's Wellness Wagon. But I love getting DMs. So just slide into my DM.
And she responds. So go in her DM, you all. Make sure you connect with her, right? The essential oils are amazing. She has her own business and program, but you want to get in on that and connect with her on Instagram. She said, get in her DM, ask questions, and you all, she gives amazing content, right? So if you're looking for tips on how to get moving, if you're looking on tips on how to eat better, these lifestyle changes that can heal our cells and our organs and different things and help with hot flashes too, like I'm over here having. Look, I'm having a hot flash, you all, but nevertheless, definitely connect with Deon. Deon, I just want to say thank you. You are just a wealth of knowledge. I appreciate all the time when we have conversations. That's why I'm inviting Deon to everything, okay? Because we don't have a lot of people just saying the holistic remedies. And like she said, we're not telling anyone not to take their medication. Okay, if that's what you need. But for her and her experience and going through perimenopause and teaching and supporting other women as well, let's look at these holistic remedies, because a lot of times, if we're honest, a lot of the holistic remedies is not the first option presented to us, right? If you even get some options, typically that's not the first one. A prescription is the first one, and it's typically not a holistic prescription either. It's something that you're going to need to take something else to combat that. And so, Deon, thank you so much. You all make sure you connect with her on all across her social media platforms and different things. Look, Deon, you didn't lose me. I typed in the chat, you all, this is how open I am. I typed in the chat because I was like, oh my God, I feel a little overheated. I got to I put in the chat, I have to step away. So you all look.
I didn't even see that. Hey, I got to send you some peppermint oil. Can you put some peppermint oil in some water, spritz it over your face? That calms your body down. That kind of just reduces the hot flashes. Quick hack.
And I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm overheated a little bit. I was like, I typed in the chat. I said, yeah, I got to step away. But you did amazing. She's like, I lost her. No, I'm back. I had to step away to cool off just a little bit. And I'm like, what is going on? I'm sitting over here and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm about to
see, that's real life TV for you.
That's real life. Like, let me turn the camera off. Let me turn my camera off real quick. But guess what? You all would have never even known, really, if I didn't say anything, because she kept on going, kept on educating, empowering you. And I was like, I got to tell her in the chat, I got to step away, because y'all, I literally felt like I was like, oh my God, y'all.
This is for real, y'all. She is real. She is a live, real demonstration of it all.
This is a real hot flash moment. I was like, let me get up and just cool off just a minute. So I would apologize for that, but this is the thing. I'm not going to apologize simply because I don't get to pick and choose when I'm going to have a hot flash, right? I don't get to pick and choose when I want to be a menopausal woman. I am a menopausal woman. It's a part of my life. This is the phase and this is the transition that I am in, and I'm still thriving in it, but I had to go cool off a minute. So look, note to self, you need to step away, do whatever it is that you need to do for you. Be your best advocate, just like Deon said. And so look, you all, until the next time, remember, when you change your perspective, you will change your life. And that's changing your perspective on your total well-being. Some of the things that we were taught to do years ago, and we've just been kind of branded in doing them. Some of those things we have to unlearn so that we can move forward in our life and create the healthy life that we desire even the most. Once again, connect with Deon as well. She has a program available where she's going to instruct you and teach you and support you and guide you along your perimenopausal and well-being journey. Okay, but if you don't have a journal, get a journal too, right? Write these things down so you can track and trend what's going on with your body, what's going on with your thoughts and your mind, so that now you can take that to the doctor. Like Deon said, she had the paper ready for the doctor. These are the things I want you to test in conjunction with what you're already going to do, but can you do these labs as well? And so do your research. But this is the thing, you have women rooting for you and supporting you. So some of that research you don't have to do yourself, because we've already done the work for you. All you have to do is connect, slide in the DM, direct message, and ask your questions. And then, of course, enroll in the program so that you can even get more in-depth knowledge and be around other women and to say you are not alone. All right, you all. So we'll talk to you soon. I am your host, Carlika Katrina Basnight-Menendez. Yes, all of that. And we will talk to you later. Have a